I'm Carrie Clark.
And I'm Alan Lodge.
For the next half hour, we'll be your hosts of a show devoted exclusively to your favorite daytime television stars. And we'll meet some of the people behind the scenes of your favorite soap.
And along the way, we'll show you how you can become part of the program, share in the stars' secrets, and meet them personally. So turn up the volume, take your phone off the hook, and join us for Soap Star Profiles.
It's been said that Californians move from one home to another more times than anyone else in the United States. On the average, we pack up all our stuff and do it again every 3 years.
And Hollywood Reporter columnist Richard Hack is no exception. Richard told me that he had just made the move and was looking for an interior decorator. Well, I heard that Jackie Zeman had just decorated the house that she and her husband bought, and I told Richard to give her a call.
Alan, are you telling me that Jackie Zeman, Bobby Spencer-Meyer from General Hospital, also has the talent of an interior decorator?
That's the word, but we're going to find out soon enough because Richard went up to see for himself, and our cameras tagged along.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks. You know, we came to talk about your interior design, but I see a lot of exterior design here as well. What about this buffalo over here?
Well, his name is Buffalo Bill,
of course it is, yes.
And Glenn and I kind of collect sculptures, and we love to go up to Carmel and Monterey. It's one of our favorite places in the world. So he's a souvenir from last Thanksgiving trip.
I thought for a second you were going to tell me there were buffalo up there.
No.
And I see over here we have a lion.
Yes, his name is Leo. And he came from our last house because we liked him so much we didn't want to leave him behind.
I see you made the whole big trip.
Yes, and if you'll notice, he's a different color than the buffalo is. The redwood, as it starts to age, it turns that gray color. You see that on a lot of houses near the beach.
To keep the termites away?
It sure does. Actually, use antifreeze for that. You put it in a water bottle and spray it about every 6 months.
No kidding. And I see there's a couple of relatives up here, but I'm not even going to ask you about these little puppies because I see a set of turkeys up against the wall.
Vultures, Richard. They're
Let me guess, Carmel?
Yes, and their names are Milton and Margaret.
And a cheery welcome to you, too.
Come on in.
Thanks. Wait to see the inside.
Right this way.
Ah, this is fabulous.
Thank you. This is the dining room, and this is the living room.
And I see some birds over here.
Yeah, that was a souvenir from a trip to Murano a few years ago.
Murano?
Yes.
Is that in Argentina?
Right near Venice. And, oh, I do have 2 very special things that I'd love to show you.
Really?
That were gifts from my husband.
Not animals, though.
Actually, guess what?
Let me guess. Now, if the vultures out front were Milton and Margaret, these are puff wheat and puff rice.
Good guess, Richard, but I'm not going to tell. It's a secret.
A stinker.
Want to see the family room?
I certainly do. Which way do we go? Whoa, 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 whoa. Jackie, what is this?
Why, Richard, that's a totem pole.
I knew that. I did. I knew that.
Come and see our chairs. I have some heat. I know you're going to.
Let me guess. Yes, more animals. This time doggies.
Yes.
Good. These
Spot.
are Spot. We're naming these Spot.
Right
and who's
now.
that? That's Blackie.
Blackie.
And this is
Brownie.
and that's Mr. Mutt.
Mr. Mudd is
His wife is upstairs. Mrs. Mutt, right?
These are from a gallery over on Sunset Boulevard. Susan Seabury is the artist. And we wanted her to do 6 chairs with 6 different dogs. And they had people on them, the ones that were in the gallery, a man, a woman, and a dog and a cat and a kid. And she wanted to do her kind of dog. We wanted Rogan, Runner, Breezy, but we didn't get them. Well, they turned out pretty cute, didn't they?
Temperamental artists are everywhere, aren't they?
Come on, I have something else to show you.
Well, I hope this isn't another animal.
Actually, this time it's not, Richard.
It's a table.
It's a table, and it's one of my favorite tables. And it's a souvenir from a trip to Italy several years ago. And I just love this table.
It looks very expensive.
It was, well, I stopped at a port. I was on a boat, a small boat, and I was on my way to Portofino. And I stopped at a port, and nobody spoke English. So I was doing my best to play Italian charades. Well, thank goodness they spoke American Express.
The universal language.
Want to see the kitchen?
I sure do. I hope there's food.
Richard, would I invite you into my kitchen without giving you some coffee, at least?
Apparently not. You know, this is not only the biggest kitchen I've ever seen, it's got to be the most gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I enjoy this kitchen very much, and Glenn and I spend most of our time when we're at home in this area, which is, I guess, one of the nice things about having a wide open house. We don't really have walls between the living room and the family room. But we did quite a bit of work on this, because when we first moved in, the appliances were here, and the kitchen was well planned and well thought out, but it was very dark. It was all dark wood, so we bleached out the ceiling, and we had the cabinets bleached out, and redid the floors. We kept the tiles, because we both liked the peach and the blue color.
Very nice.
But then, I didn't know what to do with the windows, and I didn't know what to do with the walls, because there's just these little pieces between the windows that wasn't really enough to do wallpaper. And, of course, we had the hood over the stove, which was bare at the time. It was just solid white, and I wanted to glitz it up a bit. So we decided to make it look like a grocery store. We hired an artist, and he did.
I see, yes, I see he did.
He did a
I see a
nice
few
job.
pigs there, a little sheep, a cow.
Yeah, all of our friends.
I also happened to spot a Christmas tree. I mean, what is this? A Christmas tree in the middle of spring?
That was a gift from Shell Kepler, whom I work with on General Hospital. And she gave it to us last December over the holidays. It's very healthy. It's doing very well, as you can
Yes,
see.
it's growing like crazy.
But
You know, if you ever decide to give up acting, you'd make a fabulous interior decorator.
Thank you.
And I mean that.
I thought about it. There was a time when I was planning on going into it. And I have a decorator's card, and I do a little bit for friends. I don't do it for money. I don't do it professionally. But I always thought someday, if I can't get a job as an actress, maybe I'll go decorate houses.
Yeah, thank you for sharing yours with us today.
It's been
Salute.
a pleasure, Richard.
Wow, she really does have the touch. Okay, tell me, is she going to decorate Richard's new home?
You know, he didn't even have the nerve to ask her.
You're kidding.
No. You know, sometimes things get so hectic around here that we find ourselves scheduled to be at 2 different places at the same time.
Yeah, for example, our director wants us to be on location with Stephen Nichols, Patch from Days of Our Lives. But
according to our producers, we're supposed to be here in the studio working. So what's the answer?
push the panic button?
No, Carrie, we push the button for the remote pickup. Just like this.
Hi, Stephen.
Stephen, how are you?
I'm fine. Where are you?
Don't ask.
Stephen, can we ask you some questions from long distance?
Absolutely.
Well, we understand that for some time you actually considered becoming a monk. Is that true?
Well, yes. I was in Ohio. I was 19 going on 20. My mother said, "What are you going to California for?" And I said, "I don't know." And when I got off the airplane, got into Hollywood, I was there to visit a friend who was involved in Self-Realization Fellowship. I walked through the gates of the temple on Sunset Boulevard, and for 2 weeks I was on a cloud. I felt like I had come home. And that continued for about 3 years. Strict discipline, meditation. I worked as a cook in the temple for the monks and nuns. And when it was my time to go, I realized in that moment that I should not go to actually become a monk. I was living like a monk, but I wasn't actually in the order yet. And I just knew without a doubt that I shouldn't do it. It wasn't exactly right for me.
Stephen, when did you first start thinking about an acting career?
Oh, it was about maybe a year after that. I was sort of kicking around, doing some music, learning piano, just trying to write some songs, that kind of stuff. I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself, and a friend said, "How about going to LA City College with me to the Theater Academy?" And I said, "Sure, I'll give it a try." And when I was in a situation for the first time, being on stage in front of a large audience, I felt another sort of coming home kind of feeling. It was, I was absolutely sure that I was in the right place and that this is what I should do.
Your producers told us that the role of Patch was only supposed to last for a month, but here you are, 4 years later, you've won 2 Soapies and an Emmy nomination. That's great. How did it happen?
Well, I guess I just used everything that I've always been taught and put it into this character. I made the person I was playing real, you know. He's a guy who ran around, did a lot of bad things, carried a knife, threatened people. But I felt that he had to do those things for a reason, and I created a whole inner life for this guy, and the producers and writers on Days of Our Lives started to pick up on that, and they thought it would be a good idea to write this guy in permanently.
And now a question I'm sure you've been asked a million times. How long did it take you to get used to wearing an eye patch?
It was difficult at first. I felt like I was acting with half of my face, half of myself at first. It was very strange. The physical really affected me emotionally and psychologically. So I kept it on a lot for the first, say, 6 months, all day long, with maybe breaks for a few minutes here and there. And I got used to it. Now it comes from here and it flips up on my forehead when I'm done with the scene, then back down when I'm ready to go again. And I'm perfectly comfortable with it now.
Stephen, tell us about some of your off-screen activities. For example, what's this one-eyed blues band we hear so much about?
That all happened for two reasons. One is I played blues harmonica. My grandfather gave me a harp when I was about 15, and I've always played around on it. I never practiced for long periods of time and became a great harmonica player, but I play the blues. My brother's a great blues guitar player, and I wanted to get the two of us together and get him some exposure on the outside, playing some blues. So we formed this little band called the One-Eyed Blues Band. So now I play a little blues on the show. We have a little thing in the fish market, and it's for fun mostly, but I might do a little something with it one of these days as far as recording goes.
Now, we heard that you just directed and co-starred with your wife in a play that she wrote.
That's right. It's called 60 Minutes from L.A. It's an original. My wife wrote it. I directed it, and we both acted in it. We closed just recently. It was really nice to get back to the theater, number one, and really great to work with my wife for the first time. We've never really done that, and we got along great.
Stephen, thanks for putting up with this long-distance interview. Next time we'll do it in person. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, from time to time we'll be taking you behind the scenes of the soaps. Now, Maurice Stein is a legend in the ranks of makeup artists. This man has done it all.
So we chose him to be the first of our behind-the-scenes artists. And since Richard Hack was such a good sport about letting us go along with him when he went and visited Jackie Zeman's house, we gave him this assignment.
Right, now Richard has covered some tough assignments in the past, but on this one he told us that Maurice and his son Michael almost made an old man out of him. Come to think of it, they did make an old man out of him. Take a look.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is start changing the coloration of your skin. If we're going to go towards aging you, we're going to take and change the color of your skin, give you a darker skin tone color. That way we can start using some highlights and shadows to create aging rather than using a heavy latex like they've done.
But wait a second, Mario. Just how old am I going to be here?
How old do you want to be? I mean, we have
I want to be about 10 years younger than I am now. But
10 years younger, then you'll be my age.
Oh, how about 75? 72 and a half.
72 I could probably do. 75 I can't guarantee.
All right, 72 and a half we'll shoot for.
Okay, but you're going to be the kind of 72 and a half that keeps all your hair. How's that?
Okay, it's a
all right?
deal.
Okay.
It's a deal.
Let's have some fun now.
Now, I understand this is the kind of process that you use on Estelle Getty in The Golden Girls.
Yeah, the reason we're doing this is because it's so much simpler. Rather than using heavy latex, where we put a layer of actually liquid rubber on the skin and try to stretch the skin to give the illusion of aging and wrinkles, what I'm going to be doing now is applying this color, as you see here, and we're then going to powder it. And then we're going to put another layer of makeup on and then powder it again. What we're going to end up having is a very thick, pliable skin made out of makeup. It's a lot easier on you because we don't have to put something on that is going to be hard to get off. And it's a lot faster.
Maurice, you are an institution in Hollywood, and you go way back, particularly in the area of soap operas. Tell me a few names that you've worked on.
Well, it's interesting. Some of the ones that I worked on that were new in those days are some of the biggest stars today in the industry. Ellen Burstyn was going back many years ago.
That's right, she started in a soap.
And now she's a very, very famous, acclaimed actress on the big screen. Eric Braeden, who is still, I guess, one of the heartthrobs of the big screen and the little screen. I remember working with him, it's been over 20 years ago.
What about Diane Cannon? Didn't she start in the soaps too?
Diane Cannon was also during the same period.
Maurice, who else comes to mind? Perhaps old stars that are still working?
Well, John Bernardino and MacDonald Carey is still around, and he's doing probably better now than ever before. He keeps getting better as he gets older.
And how about Dame Judith Anderson? Have you ever worked with her?
Dame Judith Anderson is probably my favorite of all the actresses that have been around for so many years. I think she finally just retired for the last time this year, and now she's out enjoying her flowers out in Santa Barbara.
This is not a pretty picture here, Maurice. I thought you were the one who made people look beautiful.
Well, I would consider this another form of beauty. You know, beauty makeup, or makeup itself, is not just lipstick and blush. We do a lot of other things that require a lot more talent, and one of them is doing what we call character makeup. And that's
character, that's what I've got here, I see.
This is a character makeup, and by character, I mean I'm changing your character from one extreme to another. Instead of being a good-looking, handsome man, what I'm doing now is changing you to a very good-looking, handsome, older man.
So I understand, Maurice, that you're not doing as many TV shows and movies as you once were.
Well, I sort of semi-retired about 4 years ago and opened up this little company called Cinema Secrets. The only show I'm doing now is Golden Girls, which is on Saturday night, which is the similar kind of makeup I'm doing on you. But I did really try to retire about 4 years ago when I opened up this company with the help of my son Michael, my other son Danny, and my wife Barbara. So this is a family operation, and I think we've gone just about as far as we can go. If I go any farther, I'm going to pass up that 72-year age that I promised you I'd keep it at.
I can see that. Estelle Getty, eat your heart out.
Well, I think Richard looks great at 72.
Sure does.
But there is one thing missing.
What's that?
Well, the traditional before and after shot.
Coming right up.
Alan, what do Phoenix, Arizona, Littleton, Colorado, South America, New York City, and Los Angeles all have in common?
Gee, other than the fact that they're all on planet Earth, you got me, Carrie.
They are all places where General Hospital's Don Merrick has both lived and worked.
Sounds like an interesting lady, and a great story for us.
Well, our producers thought so too, so they sent Profiles correspondent Shelley Herman to cover it. And predictably, she found the peripatetic Miss Merrick, as usual, on the move.
Shelley! Woo! Look at you! What are you doing here?
Oh, you're a hard woman to track down.
Go anywhere for an interview.
Well, I try, you know. How do I look up here?
Well, you look great. I didn't really know you rode.
I don't. I fooled you, too. But you're real good at this. How long have you been riding?
For a long time. I grew up in Denver, you know, and,
That's horse country.
yeah, kind of, sort of. And, when I was a kid, back in Denver, my dad put me in a group called the Western Airs.
And what were they all about?
Well, you learn everything there is to know about a horse, how to take care of it, how they work, how to handle them, and eventually you go into a riding group that ends up like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, where you do formations and learn how to, you carry flags and you do precision things. It's really fun.
Do you still find time to ride?
Not as much as I'd like to. You have to make time. So actually in June I'm going to go up north to Bishop, California and track wild mustangs for 4 days on horseback. So that should
You're
be...
not shooting them, are you?
No. We're going to, with a camera maybe, but just learning about them and camping out and riding horseback for 6 hours at a time.
Gosh, that sounds like a real adventure.
I'm really excited about it.
And before you landed the role of Sam on General Hospital, did you find that you had to do any kind of unusual jobs?
Yeah, I had a couple unusual jobs in my day. I was a magician's assistant in a circus. And the magician happened to also own all the animals in the circus. So we had a gorilla and 4 chimps and a tiger and 5 dogs. And I learned how to work with the animals, and I learned how to do the magic tricks.
What'd you do? Did you get sawed in half or anything?
No, I didn't get sawed in half. I was levitated, cremated, turned into a tiger. What else did we do? Oh, once I disappeared. That was a lot of fun. And then working with the animals, that was also something I thought I would end up doing with my life, is working with and studying the habits of chimpanzees and gorillas with their communication and whatnot. And so it was really interesting for me to work with the gorillas.
You know, with acting, it's not like you can just open up the Sunday paper and find a job. You have to be real, you can relate, you have to be real ingenious. Have you ever done anything like just really bizarre to get a job?
Oh, I don't know. I guess so. I was living in New York and I came to California to visit, and I decided it was probably a good idea if I moved back, but I needed a job. So I happened to hear that they were auditioning for the Los Angeles company of 42nd Street.
A big flashy musical.
Yeah, I said, that sounds like a good job. So I went down to the audition, but I didn't have tap shoes because all of my dance stuff was in New York. So I said, when it came to be my turn to dance, I said, everybody just be really quiet. And the choreographer was a little annoyed with me, but she was, it was all right. It worked out. I got the job, and I moved to California and stayed for the entire run of the show. So it was great.
Well, that's
great
terrific.
fun, great theater, great time, great everything.
And do you still find time to dance?
Yeah, I do. I'm taking class again, but not as much as I'd like to, obviously. I kind of like to do another show, I think.
Wow. Levitated, cremated, and turned into a tiger. No wonder she wants to be a dancer again. Well, there you have it. Soap Star Profiles, Volume 1.
And coming up next week, we'll visit the Young and the Restless star, Jess Walton, and we'll talk to her about the trials of being a soap star and a mother.
The whole thing with being a mom, a working mom, is terribly, terribly difficult. I come home, sometimes I'm working all day, and I just want to go lock myself in a room. I don't want to hear about children or the problems with the house or anything else, you know. It's very difficult, but I wouldn't want one without the other. My family absolutely comes first, and it's my first priority.
And her family project, training Ninja the Wonder Dog.
Good job.
And we'll visit Kate Linder, Esther of Young and the Restless, and we'll talk to her about her dual career as flight attendant and actress, and a gourmet surprise.
I understand that you are a terrific cook, and you have a recipe that you're going to share with us.
Well, I do have a good recipe. It's called Kate Linder's Fiesta Dip.
Okay, what's in it?
Okay, let's see. It's got refried beans and avocados and sour cream and cheddar cheese and, well, I'll give you the whole recipe later.
If you'd like the recipe for Kate's Dip, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope and we'll get that recipe right out to you.
And also next week, I'll travel to a basketball court where Days of Our Lives captain Abe Carver, Jim Reynolds, is coaching his son's team for the big game.
Just a really natural thing to be involved in Jed's activities. It makes it a lot easier for me to know what's going on. It's a lot of fun just watching Jed play basketball because he just loves it so much. He's just a very fun boy to be with, and in almost every way. But I like to share most things with him. Unfortunately, he likes to share it with me, and I don't know, I just always think that he has only one childhood, and I just don't want to miss it.
And a special feature of our show is called Celebrity Scrapbook. We'll open this scrapbook up with the star to whom it belongs. Next week, you know him as...
Oh, Carrie, let's keep the name of the star a surprise. But you can't introduce our contest.
Okay, Alan. Who is this soap star? Today, he's about 30 years old. He's 6 feet tall,
And that's all you get for now. See, we're going to call this part of our show So You Think You Know Your Soap Stars.
Now, what's his name? Not his stage name, not his character's name. What's his real name?
And the viewer who sends us the correct answer with the earliest post date will receive, with our compliments, a free 1-year subscription to their favorite soap opera magazine.
Now, be sure to specify which magazine that is. Let me just give one more hint about this cute little guy.
No way, Carrie. We are out of time. I'll tell you one thing, though. We have definitely got to keep meeting like this.
All right. How about next week?
Got yourself a date. And so do you. We'll see you next week, folks.
Bye-bye.
Formula production.